Good morning and welcome to Zen Fits here in Blackstone, Virginia, the center of the world. Let's talk about the Big Bang. If you really saw through and through that you were at the center of the world and not just in the world as a thing among things, just another thing bouncing around among things in the world like a pool ball player, a pool ball, you see, if you really saw that you were at the center of the world, while at the same time, a thing among things bouncing around in the world, if you could see both at the same time, I am in the world, but I'm not of the world. Well, Jesus said that, but he was Jesus. Why don't you try saying it? Just think, what would it feel like? What would it be like if you were the center of the world? Now, you can just imagine this. You're in a house, like I'm in a foyer. Now, if I walk into the living room, imagine that if you were a GPS navigator. Now, if you're looking at the world as if you are a GPS navigator, then wherever you go, you are at the center of the navigator. You could just look at it. If you don't move on the GPS navigator, the map doesn't move. Just sit there. X. If you are X, if you move just 1 inch, the world changes to fit around you like a glove. If you move wherever you go, the world is rebooting to follow you. On the GPS navigator, you are the center of the map. Or, moving just a little bit ahead of that, if GPS navigator is you, then wherever you move, the world moves with you as a reflection of you. As a reflection. But we live, you see, in the Newtonian map, created by, in the 16th century, a flat map. The map is real. The world is real. Things are real. You're not real. Actually, because you don't change the map. The world is there, whether you're on it or not, we believe. The world is, in other words, if I were to die right now, we believe, this is the common sense, that this house and the people and the meaning of everything would be just like I perceive it. Does it? Is that true, you see? Does the world we see exist exactly as I perceive it out there if I was never born? Well, of course, you can't tell. You can't know. But the way we look at the world is as if the world and its map and its names exists on its own, separate from me. That's just our common sense. And we look at the world and we figure it out through science, cause and effect, and I could find out how to fix the world through finding out what the laws are, natural laws. So if you find out how the motorcycle works and understand its laws, you can fix it. Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Riding. But there are two ways of knowing. Did you ever read that book, The Art of Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance? So go back and read that. Profound book. It's two ways of knowing. One way of knowing is the knowing of the mechanic. He knows the laws of the motorcycle and he loves fixing it. Great. Then there's the way of knowing of the rider of the motor. He doesn't give a crap about how it works. He rides it. And when he rides that motorcycle, he's at the center of the world. That's why we like motorcycle riding. I used to have one. Not a big one. But when you're on a motorcycle, you're at the center of the world, because if you're not, you're going to wreck. You have to be the center of the world when you're on a motorcycle riding. You can't be off of it, kind of like looking at it as if it were a map or something, you see. In other words, you have to be the motorcycle, the rider, and the road when you're riding a motorcycle, because of the risk of death. If you dope off, you're dead. So you don't dope off. If you're climbing the face of a mountain, you don't think about your taxes. You don't think about the mountain as being outside of you. You are the mountain. People love to fight, because when they fight, they are the fight. They're not outside of it looking at the fight. They are the fight. They're at the center of the world. So we shift back and forth between being outside of the world. Oh, isn't that interesting? What caused that? Oh, look, they're fighting. Oh, look at that. They're shooting into each other. Oh, my goodness. But if you're in a crowd and their shooting starts, you're not standing outside of it looking at the crowd, wondering, oh, look, that person's shooting that person. Oh, my gosh, that's being outside of it. But what happens is that suddenly, when there's a big bang, you are running for your life. When you're running for your life in terror, you're not outside of your running looking at it with amusement, like you're watching it on TV. So because our society, our world is flipping back and forth between, oh, isn't that interesting? They're shooting each other. My goodness, who caused that? Or you're fucking running for your life. So you're flipping back and forth, one from being outside, watching everything as if from your sofa, to running for your life. Because when you're running for your life, you are the center of the world. You're not outside of it. But our minds are flipping back and forth between these two ways of knowing. And our culture, our mechanical culture, the scientific culture, the technological culture, sees the world as if it were a machine. So now we get AI. And we get the advertisements. Get your AI buddy. He can do everything for you now. He can fix the world. Get your AI. But this goes back to Star Wars at A2-D2. The first robot that was your friend. Remember that little guy? He would do stuff for you. That was the first AI. So we're just moving from one fixer to another, all the while, so we can sit on our sofa and eat popcorn and observe the world. Oh, look, they're rioting over there. Oh, look, an atomic bomb just went off. Oh, look, it's the rapture. Pass the popcorn. We flip back and forth. So what I'm saying is the true Big Bang. The Big Bang is when you flip suddenly out of terror or love, when you look into the eyes, you're on a subway and you look into the eyes of the other, it could be male or female, and suddenly you see yourself looking back at you. I see myself looking back at me through your eyes. Bam, that's the Big Bang. And people, oh, he's in love. When you're in love, you're not observing being in love. You are love. In the same way, you are the motorcycle. In the same way, you're running out of terror to get out of the way. So terror and love are the Big Bang. And the Big Bang is when you are suddenly at the center of the world and on a GPS navigator, and now the world is moving around you instead of you being an ant on a map going from here to there. The ant on the map goes from here to there, and if the ant is stepped on, the map still stays the same. But on the GPS navigator, if the little X goes away, everything goes away. You are the center of the map. This, you can experience this if you look directly right here in your own house. Go into the next room and notice how the house changes to fit you. Now, I mean, it's not like the house was there and you're something walking on in it. And that's the way we think. But in actuality, in experience, in truth, the house is moving around you. Whatever room you're in is the center of the house because you're there. You are the center of the world from one viewpoint, a way of knowing, and you're not the center of the world, but you are in the world as a thing being bounced around like billiard balls. And when we're only in that map, you see, we say, why am I always in the pocket? Who hit me in the pocket? Who's the player here? Why am I always behind the 8-ball? That can't be answered as long as you are looking at the world as a pool table. because the player is absent. From the other point of view, from the GPS view, you are the player. You are the pool table. You are the pool balls. You're the whole thing, the whole works, you see. You're it. But then, no, I'm not. I'm an it, among other things. No, I am. This is the shift. This is the shift. Now, Zen makes you play with that. Makes you inquire into it. I mean, you don't have to go to a Zen monastery. You just have to read the Zen masters. And the question is, what is the real Big Bang? Did the Big Bang happen in the past and we're all just a rolling Big Bang of time, an expanding circle of Big Bang? Or are you the Big Bang? The Big Bang is when you realize that you are the world and the world is you. You are at the center of the world. But then everyone is at the center of the world. Thanks for dropping in. Have a Zen fit.